Well, I'm reaching deep into my bags of tricks today because because I had to, because everything else wasn't working. So I'll share that with you in just a minute. Basically, the long and the short is I have a PC I'm trying to keep cool, and I've tried one, two, three, four or five different coolers on it to keep it cool. But it's in one of those little 2U rack mount cases, so there's not a lot of air getting in there. So what is a CPU to do? Hang around and we'll show you that in just a minute. Okay? Okay.
We're the streaming idiots, having the time with Tom Sinclair guiding. We're feeling so fine. A vMix on the screen, we're ready to play. A custom built PCs, taking tech to the fray. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Making live production feel like a breeze. Got the rhythm pumping, we do it with ease. From setups to transitions, we're flying high. In the world of streaming, we're touching the sky. Streaming idiots, we're living the dream. With tech support in the mix, we're a winning team. Tom Sinclair's the man, Tom Sinclair's the man, bringing us live in our VMix adventure. The future is bright. Lights, camera, action, the stage is set. From podcasts to webinars, we're never upset. Tech at our fingertips, the power's so real. Loading up the content, let the viewers feel. Building connections, we're breaking the mold. Every frame a story, every tale told. In this vibrant world, we're living with flair. Streaming idiots unite, let's take it from there. Streaming idiots, streaming idiots. We're living the dream, living the dream. We take support in the mix. Oh, we're a winning team. Tom Sinclair's the man, Tom Sinclair's the man, bringing us live in our VMix adventure. The future is bright. We got tips and tricks all wrapped in a show. And our extra fun, let the good times flow. From sports to the arts, we're taking the lead. With vMix by our side, there's nothing we need. Troubleshooting smoothly, no hassle or fuss. In the world of tech, we're igniting the buzz. Streaming idiots, we're living the dream. With some support in the mix, we're a winning team. Tom Sinclair's the man, Tom Sinclair's the man, bringing us live in our favorite adventure. The future is bright. So here's to the journey. Let's raise a toast for Tom Sinclair and the team we love most. Streaming idiots.
Well, alrighty then. Gee whiz. Oh, today is not vMix voice. How did that get in there? Oh, well, pay no attention to this. Well, I mean, you can pay attention to it, but it's not, it's not the subject of today's show. Hello, Gunnar. Hello, Jesper. Hello, Tim. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. So, yeah. So, today, it's sort of a geeky kind of thing. I mean, if you're into this, this is going to be really, really cool. If you're not, it's like ho-hum, very boring. But it's going to be on CPU cooling within some tight confines. And this might be just what you need in a particular situation. Or it may be nothing at all. So, assuming that it's stuff that you need and want and are delighted with, you can give me a thumbs up right now. Yeah, not going to happen. Not going to happen. Okay, let's see. Sorry I was out last week. Yeah, it was just one of those things where a contractor overstayed his welcome. Showed up late and then overstayed his welcome. So, won't do that again. We'll be available for you guys for the foreseeable future. How far out into the future can I foresee? My calendar goes a long way, but there's nothing on my calendar for Wednesdays for a while. But yeah. So I don't know if you can see that picture very well, but that is the case in question that we're going to be working with. And then we'll see. I was thinking this morning, maybe in the future, of doing sort of a retro show. But then again, I decided not. Coming up in July will be kind of our annual, will be the celebration of another year of Streaming Idiots. We started in July of 2012 or 2013? It may have been 2012. If that's the case, we're coming up on 14 years. And believe it or not, this is the longest continually, longest continually running live streaming show about live streaming in the world. Well, I mean, I won't say in the world because I don't know about other countries because I don't typically watch those. But here in the U.S., so far as I can tell, there aren't any other live streaming shows that have been going on as long. This is intended as a weekly show, but we don't always make the week. So, yeah. Okay. So let's cue up the intro, and we'll go to work. You ready? Let's do it. All right. Hat tip again to Martin K on that. So we are going to, let's see, what are we going to do? We are going to do that, and let's get rid of that and do that instead. There we are. Now we're good. I've got the secondary workbench set up with something, so I'm going to slip over there, and we'll go over there and take a look at that. And then I'm going to move that behind me here and do some wiring and see if I can't get the output of that PC piped directly in here so that I can show you on the screen instead of you having to kind of look over my shoulder. We'll see. That it might work. So let's try that. Let's see. What do we got? We have a tab. I have a tab in my vMix setup called Show Specific. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I have 16 tabs set up. And I'm going to erase one in just a minute. But one of them is called Show Specific. It's where I put all the various pictures or camera settings or whatever for today's show. And then I can erase it later. That way I don't just end up building. That's what I used to do. I would add stuff to my preset in vMix. And before I know it, I'd have 120 inputs. Here with this one, let's see. Let's go all the way down to the bottom and see how many we have. I have 91. So that's not too bad. And truth be told, a lot of those need to be culled out. All right, let's do this. Let's go to, what camera are we going to go to? We're going to go to this camera right here. So let's go to that camera, and I'll take my keyboard with me so I can change camera shots. And I want to show you what's going on today. There we go. All right, so is this going to work? No, it's not going to work. Oh, you know what? I erased some, I deleted. Let me fix this just a second. I took some inputs out of my preset, and of course it automatically renumbers everything, but it doesn't work for my multi-view. So let me fix that just a second, because that's queued to all right, so front ceiling, tripod, and is that right? Let's try it. Okay, let's see if that works. Let's see if that works. So that's going to give you number 1 right there, right? No, number 3. There we go. Well, the numbers are off. Okay. So let's go back to number 1. There we are. There we are. There we are. So the numbers are all messed up. All right. So what I've got here, and I think this is number 1. No, let's try number 3. There we go. This is what we're working with today, and this is a full-size motherboard. So I've got all my slots available. And this is I think this is a Z790 motherboard. Asus. Has spots for 1, 2, 3 SSDs, M.2 SSDs. It's kind of a funky little power supply called a Flex. And this is a 600 watt. This is for a 1U case, but that works okay here. And I first tried to cool the CPU with the good old Intel cooler. It's kind of low profile. So I thought, okay, that's great. And fired up, I think Prime 95, and it went to throttling immediately. I said, okay, that's not going to work. So let's bring in a Noctua cooler. This is a low profile Noctua cooler. And this is one of my favorites. I really like it because it's really low, but being really low, it doesn't have a very big cooler. And it didn't last very long before it topped out at 100% too. So I said, okay, let's get something taller. So I had this one on my shelf, and I said, okay, let's try this Noctua cooler. Fan size is the same, but the cooler part is probably about 100% larger than the other one. And this one took about 10 minutes, and then it got saturated, Maybe it wasn't even 10 minutes. And it was no good. So I said, okay, let's go out on the internet and let's find the best low profile cooler we can find. And I found this monster, which is, I really had high hopes for. It's got a fan built into it on one end. And of course, there's the CPU mounting plate, all copper. And then it's got this mammoth heat sink right here with copper pipes going through it. Actually, just 2 copper pipes. So maybe there's not as much cooling as you might think. And eventually, we had throttling with this guy too. So maybe, maybe this 2U case is just too small to do what I want. So last chance, I went out and I got this little guy. It is a, I don't know, it's probably 250 millimeters. I mean, it's a small size because it's the same height as the 2U case. It's got 3 fans and a water cooler. It's the only water cooler I could find that would fit this size. I may have missed one out there. The pump is actually mounted here on the end, which is kind of cool. And let me go back over the desk and show you some pictures of this guy pretty close. This is from a company called Dynatron, and this is the model L35. And the model L35, oh, hold on. There we go. The model L35, show specific, looks like this. And so it's got 3 fans, and you notice they're mounted blowing away from the photographer in this case into the radiator. This is another shot of the same thing from the other angle, so you can see the copper mounting block. And here is a third angle of the same thing. Now, I'm going to go back to the first one for just a second. The fans only have the ability to be screwed in on one side. You notice the flange closest to us has no screw holes in it. So let's go back to our hold on. Yeah. We've got a world of hurt here. Let's go back here. We'll go back to this one. Okay. So I went ahead and mounted it here from this side using the screw holes that are in the radiator, and then the screw holes are on both sides of the radiator. Put the fans on this side, so they're blowing out, not in. I would prefer that, and I may have to figure out a different way to do this. But for right now, this is how we're doing it. And each fan needs to have its own connection. So the instructions say, because it's such a big fan. So I've got the 3 fans plugged into, 2 of them plugged into the chassis fan connection, and one of them plugged into the CPU fan connection. And of course, the pump over here is plugged into the AIO connection. So we're going to assume that that's going to work now that we've looked at it from this side. Let's see if we can get this other picture here. Can we do this one? Nope, not that one. That one. There we go. So you can get kind of a feel for it. Again, that's the water block, the water line, the water pump, 3 fans, and the radiator, and then a lot of extra wiring. We've got a low profile Gigabyte GeForce RTX 5060 Ti here. I think it's the 16 gigabit version. And then a 4-port SDI capture card, those little mini BNCs. This is the Blackmagic card. And then a Blackmagic mini monitor. So that's output. So let's physically move this. Oh, and we got some other cables over here that we're not using. So we're going to physically move this over to the other bench. Well, let's go ahead and plug in the power button while we're here. Well, not going to worry about that. Let's put these in where they won't get into the fan. And then we're going to put the top on so that we can choke it in terms of air so that we will have the best representation of this in a case. Let's try doing it the right way, shall we? No, that was the right way. Never mind. We'll try again there. That's it. That's it. There we go. All right, so let's take that and this over to the other workbench, and we'll get everything plugged in over there. Okay. Now let's see if we can't get a camera over there. 1 second. There we go. All right. And that is the general location. And let's do some things like plug it up to power. Right there. And we'll plug in a monitor into the output card, the video card. There we go. And we've got another cable here that is actually going to our PC right there. Let's see if we can't get that to go out. And then we need to plug in a keyboard and mouse. I just do it with a no power hub. And we don't need internet. But we do need to jump start this guy. So let's open this back up again. And see if we can't get it to run. The fan started out, as you heard, with a bang. And with any luck, this guy will boot. Is there anything we're waiting on there? I guess we could turn our monitor on. Oh, it's on. Okay. I haven't run this PC in a while, so I'm actually not even sure if it'll boot. Oh, there we go. Spoke too soon. Okay. So we've got a mouse over here that doesn't appear to be working. Let's unplug it and plug it in again. There we go. See if that did anything. There we go. And one of the first things I'd like to do is duplicate my displays. Can we do that? Oh, except it's on the other display. That's no good. All right, let's see if we can connect that to our PC. Yeah, here it is. So that is the desktop. Great. So let's go back here and see if we can duplicate. There we go. Now we've got the same thing here and there. All right, so you can see my mouse and I can see the desktop. And what we want to do at this point is we want to get into some utilities. Here we go. Here's one right here called core temperature. top left-hand corner. And that's going to tell us what our temps are. So we're looking at this list, and we're seeing currently we're running in the 20s, the high 20s. And so we want to go and pull up something on our test thumb drive called AIDA 64 Extreme. Right there. And we'll install that. Paying no attention to the fan noise. Not sure what it's doing. We'll probably have to get into the let's try that again. Get into the BIOS and tweak the fans a little bit. All right, your evaluation period is over. Oh no. Well, that's what I get for using an evaluation copy. Let's see if this will allow us to do anything with that. We have a CPU setting, CPU burner, 28 threads. Let's try it. Okay, I'm going to step away from it a little bit because it's kind of noisy over there. But we can see in our CPU, and let's see if I can turn the sharpen on a little bit. That'll help it a little. Let me roll back over there. 100% load on all of the cores. The lowest one is 63, the highest one is 80. It's not going to win an award for quietness, but we may just have found a winner on keeping something absolutely cold while it's running full speed. Okay, we've got two cores that bumped up to 83. So this looks really good so far. Let's see if we're... The important thing here, and I'm going to step away from that just a second so it's not quite so loud. The important thing here is the CPU is not throttling. So this looks like I can get something going at 100% CPU use and the CPU won't throttle. This is pretty fabulous. Pretty fabulous. Now this is kind of a weird cooler, and as you can see from earlier that I installed it, where it's taking air from inside the case and blowing it over the radiator, and then it's going to the outside of the case. So it's not even configured in what I would consider an optimum format. Walk back over to it again. I am pretty darn excited about this. I mean, holy cow. This is a breakthrough. This is going to allow me to build what I used to build in a 4U setup, to build it in a 2U setup, at least for some situations. Now, fan noise, yeah, we're going to have to tweak that a little bit. But also, if this server's in a place where it doesn't matter about fan noise, then who cares? All right, let's shut this down so that we can hear ourselves think. Okay, and as the CPU usage dropped down to 1%, so did the fan noise. And back down, immediately back into the high 20s. Wow. This is really cool. This is really cool. All right. Well, we'll let this guy idle for a second to completely shut down. But I'm pretty impressed. I'm pretty impressed. This is one of the this is one of the experiments that we pulled off here in the Streaming Idiot Studios that actually worked. Yeah. So okay. So it's a Dynatron, Dynatron L35, and that's for the 2U size. And there might be a 4U radiator, but I don't think it would fit into this case. I mean, even, excuse me, not a 4U radiator, a 4-fan radiator. But I think the case had some other things in it that this particular case had things in it that wouldn't allow it to work in that situation. So yeah. So doggone it. Doggone it. I'm stunned. I'm stunned. I mean, you saw the other coolers I was trying to use, and those weren't the right tool for the job. They weren't the right tool for the job. All right, well, let's close this up. We'll go to the post show where we can talk about what we found out. So I'll be right back. Okay, let's shut this guy down so that we don't have so much fan noise. How about that? Is that cool or what? Gee whiz. Okay, I'm excited. I am excited. Hey, Giles is here. Welcome, sir. Good to see you. Glad to have you. And Lou Floria is trying to build with an Ice Cube 40D, an Asus ROG Crosshair 870E Hero 9950X3D Next Elite Cooler HX1200i right now. Well, I'm a silly boy, but I don't understand much of that. So help me out with that. Jeffro says, I assume you're the streaming idiot. Maybe if you get a non-idiot to put your PC together, it might stay cool. Very good. Whoops. The purpose of this was to actually to torture test the PC at 100% on each one of the 20 cores, which normally would never happen. But there is a client that I have that I build quite a few computers for. And I'm thinking I was experimenting to see if we could go with a smaller form factor. We were using a 4U case, and I thought, well, what if we could put it in a 2U? You know, that would be smaller on their end, and it would cost less to ship, blah, blah, blah. But I had trouble keeping it cool because essentially, you know, a 2U rack case has got this teeny little part in the front where the air can pass through, and a teeny little part in the back where air can pass through. And so there just wasn't a lot of air movement, and the air coolers weren't working. I mean, they weren't doing the trick. So that's why we went to this water cooler. So we'll see if this does the trick. I mean, it does try the trick. So it didn't even take a non-idiot. It just took the right parts. I mean, it's not the putting it together that's the issue. It's really picking the right gear, the right spec, and the right products. Yeah. Okay. So RK Crosis, I went to the RON cooler, and it keeps the 9950X 3D at 38 idling and at 52 4K gaming. All right, well, let's see if we can find that. What it is. ROG. Let's just spell it the way you've got it. UGINCOLER. Okay. All right, let me show you my screen capture here. Let's add one for that. Capture, desktop capture, display 2. Is that the right one? Yeah, there we go. Okay, so this is what he's talking about right here. Let's see if we can find the liquid cooler. There we go. All right, very nice. So there's the 360, there's the 240, there's another 360, a 240, another 240. Yeah, the issue is, and let's just pick this one for example, is this is 120 millimeters tall. And 120 millimeters tall is about yay big right there. Our case is only yay big. So we've got to find something that's half that size. And let me pull up the Dynatron and see if Dynatron L135. Yeah, this is the page from the manufacturer. You see the application is a 2U. Whoops, 2U down here at the bottom. And let's see if it's got any specs on the size. The radiator dimension is 304, call it 305, by 85. So, and 85 is like this. 120 is like this. That's the issue that I was running into, is that I couldn't use something like that, which I would typically use, and I was forced to go to something that had a smaller height. So, yeah. And I would have tried anything, but I haven't been able to find anything that would fit into that case. That was it. See, we were sort of taking the case as our hard spec. Change anything else you want, but you can't change the case size. So that's what we were dealing with. Giles says a pretty amount of fan noise. It was a pretty amount of fan noise. But I suspect, yeah, I mean, I suspect once it got going, the fans were just maxing out 100%. And I think we could probably back off the RPMs on the fan. The temperature might go up a little bit. The highest was 83, and I like 83. I like 83 much better than I do 93. Certainly better than I do 100 degrees. This is Celsius. So we'll just see. We'll just see. All right, hold on. Let's see. I think I got these in the wrong order. Went with a PC Cooler CPS DC 360 Pro for a fraction of the price, but again, the size is too big for your application. Yes. Yes. I've seen some of the ones with the nice little display screens, but if it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit. Yep. So the 360 would be great. And I even thought for a second, what if it was externally mounted? What if you could put it somehow outside the case? Boy, you could get all sorts of air into it if that were the case. But I'd have to do something custom because the hose length wasn't long enough to get outside the case. And if you assume this is 2U going into a rack and it's going to have stuff above it and stuff below it, you're not going to be able to make it breathe through the top or the bottom. It's going to have to go out the back. And even then, it might get in the way of everything else if it's bigger than your regular footprint. So yeah. Yeah. That's the key. That's the trick. The trick is to get the right tool for the job. Now, that's not exactly the right tool for the job. It's close. I'm going to have to modify it a little bit, I think, to be able, well, although I would much rather have the fans blowing in. That's choice number one. Choice number two is the fans sucking in. Choice number three is the fans blowing out. Choice number four is the fans sucking out. So we'll see. We will see what we can do. Yeah, the smaller the form factor. I mean, it's got to move the same amount of air, assuming that, it's doing the same amount of cooling or taking away the same amount of heat. It's got to be able to dissipate that heat. Yeah, I didn't put my hand in front of that one to see how much heat it was dissipating, but I'm not going to fire it up again right now. That was a little loud. And I wonder how much electricity those fans use and what their lifespan is. Because they were, I think I read in the specs, let me pull the specs back up again right here. I think I read in the specs, yeah, maximum power, 300 watts. Ooh, that's a lot of watts. Speeds, 8,000 RPM, plus or minus 10%. Now, I assume they were doing 100%, and they wouldn't necessarily do 100% if we were running vMix doing something else. And here's the noise level, 64 decibels. That's pretty high. And 115 cubic feet per minute. Under continuous operation, 70,000 hours. 70,000 hours. Well, let's see. 24 hours in a day times 365 days in a year times 5 years is 43,000. Let's work it the other way. So let's say 70,000 divided by 24 hours in a day. So that's 2,916 days. So we'll divide that by 365. So 8 years is the duty cycle. That's pretty sharp. That's pretty sharp. You can hook it up to your clothes dryer and it would blow dry your clothes. "14 years old. Oh, gee, my gosh. And the original fans. It's time to give those babies a break. Holy cow. That's a Dell PowerEdge 710. Well, and it may not have had, you know, the kind of use that I was putting this under back here. I was giving this guy a hard time for sure. Was maxing him out, shall we say. Yep. Well, boys and girls, this has been fun playing in our little digital toolbox, little digital sandbox. But I got to go back to work. I got to turn this prototype into a product. Yeah. And I'd like it to last 14 years. Yes, I would. Yes, I would. I know that feeling. I know that feeling. It's like, okay, what can I do? And I didn't have a fire. Yeah. OG had a fire in his house. That's no good. All right, guys. Well, we're going to wrap it up with the what do we call this? The going away song, the goodbye song. So thanks for watching. If you haven't heard the song before, stick around and listen to it. It's really pretty fun. Bye now.
Well, it's the end of the show, the lights are down low. We've had some laughs and now it's time to go. Streaming idiots, delight on display. Hope you enjoyed it. We had fun today. From the very first laugh to the final goodbye, we shared our moments, oh my, oh my. So thank you, thank you. It's been a blast. We'll keep the fun rolling. This won't be our last. See you next week. Set your reminders. More craziness coming. We're joyful finders. Each week we gather with jokes and smiles, from techie mishaps to quirky styles. Every stream is magic, a little surprise. More than just a show, it's all about the ties. We're a family here, part of your feed, chasing the giggles, fulfilling the need. So thank you, thank you. It's been a blast. We'll keep the fun rolling. This won't be our last. See you next week. Set your reminders. More craziness coming. We're joyful finders. So grab your popcorn and settle right in. With laughs on the screen, let the fun begin. From the couch or your bed, wherever you be, join us next time. Come laugh with glee. We love your comments, your hearts and your cheers. Together we make memories that last through the years. So we wave goodbye, but don't shed a tear. We'll be back next week to bring you more cheer. In this digital age, we're all on a roll. Streaming idiots, it's more than a stroll. Just hit that like and don't you forget. Keep spreading the joy, the fun's not done yet. So thank you, thank you. It's been a blast. We'll keep the fun rolling. This won't be our last. See you next week. Set your reminders. More craziness coming. We're joyful finders. So here's to the laughter, the joy that we share. With every single moment, we'll always be there. As the curtains close and the credits roll. Thanks, guys, for being part of our soul.